Feel the wrath of Cortex.
This was a huge deal. It's been 12 whole years since we got a brand new Crash game. Sure, we have Insane and Nitro Fueled, but those are remakes. They're fantastic, but they're still remakes regardless. The last new Crash game we got was Mind or Mutant, a playable platformer, but it's nothing really special. The fact that we got a brand new Crash game after all these years is really something special. But is Crash 4 a game that's so good that's worth retconning the rest of the fucking series for? Let's find out. The story takes place after Warped. Cortex and Entropy have a plan to enslave the whole multiverse, so it's up to Crash and Coco to stop them by doing so. They are joined by Bandicoot from an alternate dimension, and Dingodile, who's a good guy now. In order to stop Cortex and Entropy's evil plan, they must recover the all-powerful quantum masks. Bonnie Loli, who can turn shit invisible and appear shit, Akano, who gives a huge spinning distance and a fat fuck, Kapunawa, who can stop time, and Ika Ika, who can turn you upside down. There are other things that happen in the story, but I won't go through them because I really don't want to spoil what happens later on in the story. Honestly, not only does Crash 4 have the best story in a Crash game, but it also has the best cutscenes in the Crash game. Because of the goofy tone and humor, it feels like I'm watching a cartoon, which is great. Right off the bat, there's a lot to be proud of. The controls are better than ever. The controls are much lighter this time around. The music is really good too. Not the best in the series, but it's really up there. My fucking god, these visuals. They are honestly some of the best I've seen in a platformer. I love these new character designs. They look a lot more cartoonier than before, which is good because that style perfectly fits Crash Bandicoot. You get to play as 5 characters in this game: Crash, Coco, Tawna, Dingodile, and Cortex. Crash and Coco play the exact same. You can switch between the two anytime. Since they take most of the game, it's no surprise that they have the best levels. Tawna has some unique levels due to her grappling hook, which is used to reach other parts of her levels. Dingodile's levels may be slow compared to the others, but he still has some fun ass levels due to the sucking machine, which leads to some creative platforming. As for Cortex, I'm sorry, his levels aren't that great. He can make his own platforms out of enemies, which is cool, but because of his weaker controls and design, he's the least fun out of the 5. Bro, if you're the only one that doesn't have a thing that resembles a double jump, that's a sign that your levels will not be all that good. But maybe that's just me. There's a bunch of new things that are really cool here. Besides the quantum masks, there's also a box that shoots flames, swinging, grinding, and wall running. You'd think they'd be a little forced, but they're used greatly and it makes each level stand out. Especially since there's different level themes like music theme and prehistoric theme, which leads to some great designs in terms of the core mechanics. This game also has some bosses, and honestly, I like the presentation more than the actual bosses. Not saying they're bad, in fact they're pretty good. I just like the characters' reaction and the visuals more. But they are good. My favorite one has to be Entropy's. His boss fight kinda reminds me of the Mega Mix boss fight from the Huge Adventure, where it feels more like a challenging platforming section than an actual boss fight. The gameplay in this game is just spectacular. The mechanics, design, and theming go so damn well together. The levels are also greatly challenging. Perhaps a little too challenging. Okay, we've got to the point of the review where I bitch about the difficulty. Honestly, this is normal for a Crash 4 review. Crash 4 is definitely the hardest Crash game in the series. You thought Insane and Bash was hard? Crash 4 makes them look pathetic. You will die a lot in this game. It's so fucking hard. However, the hard difficulty is fine if you play it casually, but going for 106% will destroy your experience. I repeat, do not recommend going for 106%. It is borderline torture. You gotta get all the gems in each level. There's 6 in each level, and one of them you only get if you die no more than 3 times. Eventually you can't afford to die at all to get the insanely perfect relics. But they're easier said than done because of how brutal the game is. Then you have flashback relics, which you get by getting tapes in certain levels you only get if you reach a certain point without dying. It's cool that these levels are based on Crash's origins, but the levels eventually get brutal. There's also inverted mode, which is mirror mode with a new visual style, and they have their own gems too. There's a new visual style per world, and some of them are terrible. Like the damn colors in the first world that hurt my eyes, and the worst one, the underwater world in inverted mode. It makes the level slower, which is just pitiful. I don't care if the world itself only has 3 levels. The levels in this game are long, and the underwater shit makes it painful to play. And my good old fucking friend makes a return. Time trials. Hey, would you look at that? No super dash, but new ability. Triple spin. It fucking sucks, and it only works whenever it fucking feels like it. Oh look, you have to get platinum relics this time around. Nice, cause I love to fuck up my thumbs for some fucking time trial relics, cause we all know time trials are the best part of Crash 4. Or in any Crash game. The experience would be better or complete without some fucking relics. Thank you Toys for Bob for my good fix of relics. Bottom line, going for 106% is fucking obnoxious. Just play the game casually. Trust me, I've been playing this game since launch and I still didn't get everything yet. However, don't let going for 106% scare you from playing this otherwise amazing game. Crash 4 has a lot to be proud of. Amazing graphics, fun-ass gameplay, awesome music, engaging story, lovable characters, it has it all. It's just a fantastic game. I can say with confidence that Crash 4 is the best Crash game in the series and one of the best platforms I've ever played. Is it worth waiting 12 years for? Yes, abso-fucking-lutely. Play it. It's that good. Just don't try to be a completionist, otherwise you will see pain. The Crash reviewing series has officially come to a close. Again, I'm not going to review the mobile games, so there won't be a review of Crash on the Run. I'm glad I finally get to tell you guys how I feel about each Crash game. If you've been watching all these since the first review, thank you so much for sticking with me till the very end. It really means a lot to me. It was fun looking back at the good times I had with Crash, and even though there's some bad times, they don't stop me from enjoying the series. The series really has a special place in my heart, and it plays an important role to gaming for me. The real question is, what now? Will there be more Crash games in the future? Who knows? Probably. But when a Crash game comes out on the console, you bet your ass I'll review it. What will I do now? Maybe I'll consider doing a worst to best Crash video, but I don't know yet. I will also do gameplay videos on Crash 4 soon. I don't know what to say now, so I'm gonna end with the Crash dance to celebrate me getting to review every Crash game.